Welcome into the broadcast, everybody listening on high over on the Jackalopes YouTube channel. My name is Michael Wazinski as we get ready for the final meeting between Amarillo and Odessa, game number 8 of the regular season between these two teams. Currently, the Jacks have the season series advantage at 4-3, as they also sit above the Wranglers in the standings, now by 6 points after their 6-1 victory against Amarillo last night. And on top of that, the Midland Rockhounds beat the Amarillo Sod Poodles yesterday. The AA baseball teams were on the field just in the neighboring parking lot out here in Amarillo, Texas for opening day for the Sod Poodles. Don't forget, on April 12th, the Rockhounds will take the field over in Midland for their home opener of the 2022 season. But now back to the NAHL. As the Jacks are 28-24, 1-4 going into game number 58 this evening. 61 points for them. Their victory yesterday mainly backstopped by a great 40-stain performance by Noah Ruprecht earned Odessa the 28th win of their season. And it also picked up the second most wins in a season for them in franchise history. Again, this is the first time head coach Scott Dewar is with the team. It's also the first time he is a head coach in the North American Hockey League. Was the assistant coach for a little bit over the last 5 or 6 years in Fairbanks. And they've had some success as well as a Robertson Cup championship to boot. Well, the Jacks are going up against the Wranglers again for a conclusion season series, but also weekend conclusion as well. The Wranglers enter this game number 2 with a record of 26-28, 1-2. Good for 55 points. They are 4-6 in their previous 10 games. Currently on a 5-game losing streak. And during that 5-game streak right now, only 7 goals for them and 26 goals allowed. As compared to the Jacks, who enter also 4-6 in their last 10 games. But in their previous 5, they have scored 15 and allowed 14. And they got off of that 3-game losing streak last night with a very dominant 6-1 victory over the home team, the Amarillo Wranglers, looking to try and split the season series here tonight on the final meeting for these two teams. Again, the Jacks will be away next weekend to wrap up the 2021-22 campaign in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the Ice Wolves had a dramatic comeback victory for them to stay in contention for that number 1 overall spot in the South Division. Still, the South is the only team to have all 4 teams locked in a playoff spot already. Some other teams are getting around 2 or 3 right now. But the South, while all 4 are already locked in, that is Lone Star, New Mexico, Wichita Falls, and Shreveport. None have guaranteed the position yet. A win tonight for Lone Star will put them in first place in the South Division. But again, the Jacks will go and play New Mexico next weekend. Could spoil them and maybe drop them out of home ice advantage. It also depends, again, on how Wichita Falls and Shreveport play out over the last 3 remaining games for those respective teams. And then as for the Amarillo Wranglers, they will wrap things up next weekend here at home ice as they will host the Wichita Falls Warriors, who, like I stated earlier, are in 3rd place. Again, trying to chase down New Mexico for that home ice advantage in the first round. First 2 rounds are best of 5, and then it goes to a 3rd round for a best of 3, and then a Robertson Cup championship is a single best of 1. The Jacks are now 13-12, 0-2 as the road team, and the Wranglers are now 12-13, 1-1. They now have 1,173 penalty minutes, which is the second most in the South Division, only behind the El Paso Rhinos, who sit in last place in the division. As for the Jacks, they entered yesterday's game with 939 penalty minutes. They come in to game number 2 this evening with 1,004, due in part to a few fights and 5 total Jackalopes being ejected from the game. And those players were Charlie Bankier, as he fought with just a little over 14 minutes left against Tommy Chunchnikov. Kusler, Bonk for the Jacks were also ejected. And then they had Aiden Carney, who was the only goal scorer for Amarillo yesterday, and the leading scorer for the Wranglers was also ejected, and he was my player to watch. Kristaps Skrastins among the top 10 in points overall in the North American Hockey League. It's his first and only season here in the Tier 2 junior hockey level over in the U.S. But he's also in the top 5 in goals, 34 goals, 34 assists for the Riga, Latvia native. And has also had quite a performance against Odessa. Leads the Wranglers in points against the Jacks so far throughout this season series. 9 points for him in 7 games played so far. So again, look out for number 15 as he's back in the lineup on that top line with Glebs Prohorenkovs and Danilo Korshalensky. But there was also Nick Ahern, who was ejected as well after he flipped the puck backhanded style and it accidentally hit the linesman. Ahern out for tonight's game. The rest of the players that I mentioned are in the lineup, eligible again to return. Ahern not, as there is some shifting of lines coming from both parties. And to start things off, we'll start with the Jacks starting 6. They will be going with the second line of Chris DeClaire, who netted 2 points yesterday. Alongside him was another player that also got 2 points. That is Mike Manzo, both getting a goal and an assist throughout the 60 minutes yesterday, also returning the favor for one another on goals. And Ryan Kelly on that right-hand side. On defense, it will be Nate Bonk, who was in that scrum with Skrastins towards the tail end of period number 3 yesterday. On his right-hand side will be the one that dropped the gloves against Tommy Chunchnikov. That is Charlie Bank here from Oakville, Ontario. And between the pipes will be Alex Proctor, two of the new players for the Jacks. As coming out for Odessa for scratches is Brendan Finn, Jack Kristen, Will Marshall, and Nick Ahern. Going in will be Desmond Johnson and Liam O'Hare. And as for the Amarillo Wranglers, they will be going with their second line of Aiden Carney on the left-hand side, Logan Cleary at center, and TJ Kufis on that right-hand side. I was saying their name a lot yesterday. And on defense, they will have Oliver Bezic, a man that, of course, number 4 in white, was kind of all over the place defensively, also hopped up offensively for the Wranglers throughout the 3 periods of play yesterday. On his right-hand side, he will have Kyle DeMarco alongside him to start things off here this evening. And between the pipes, another new goaltender this weekend. It will be Max Guchar from Appleton, Wisconsin, 6'1" and 180 pounds. As the ones will face off 200 feet away from each other here for the conclusion season series between Amarillo and Odessa. Proctor has an overall record of 20-16-1-3 this season. This is game number 42 for him. And as for Max Guchar, this is game number 38 for him. 17-15-1-1 record for the Wisconsin native. As there's a little bit more of a ceremony going on as well here. Wranglers wearing specialty jerseys to honor the very first Wranglers that wore this style of jersey back in the 1970s. But there was a belt ceremony yesterday and also a little bit of a ceremony in stick taps to Jaden Jensen, the captain for the Amarillo Wranglers, who last weekend played in his 200th NAHL game, ranking him 25th across any player that's ever played for the NAHL in terms of games played. He can finish out his junior career. He is an 0-1, so he ages out this year, but if he plays the next 2 next weekend against Wichita Falls, he can finish with 205 games played and rank him somewhere around tied for 19th. As there's still a little bit more of a ceremony going on. Jack's not out on the ice so far. And it looks like they might be doing another billet ceremony like they did yesterday. Jacks continued to, of course, keep their foot on the gas for 60 minutes yesterday. That was something that even though Ruprecht was very pleased about, he was talking things over with me after the game yesterday. My interview with him, you could catch one of his quotes on the game recap that is on the Odessa Jackalopes website under news. And one of the things that he obviously applauded was the team effort from forwards to defensemen, and on top of that, of course, the fact that a lot of the shots were coming from the perimeter, from the outside. There were a few that obviously were between the circles, a little bit low on him, but he was standing tall. Brick wall, 40 saves for him, 6 shy of tying his season high and career high. Well, it looks like this might be more of a family ceremony, as they just brought Ben Beester to the red carpet. Again, the Hockey TV camera across from the broadcast booth, so in case throughout the 3 periods here, in case my verbiage is a little off or the way that I say a certain thing, it is kind of flip-flopped from my perspective, as I'm behind the benches here from the Budweiser bullpen. And this is the only arena that does that. Everybody else has that traditional broadcast on the same side as the announcer booth. Well, Amarillo playing with 10 in-jout players here this evening. Jacks playing with 5. Again, a very diverse roster that the Jacks have, and they were getting scoring from all sorts of lines yesterday. A main contributor was Tanyan Bejier. 2-goal performance by him yesterday, his second multi-goal game of his rookie season. Of course, you had Chris Duclair and Mike Manzo pick up 2 points. And on top of that, you get Dane Hoyard, now the second Jackalopes player this season to hit 20 goals, as he rocketed one far side past Clafton. Got some help with the post on that far-hand side. But the Army commit gets number 20 for him. Again, he's eligible to return next season if he chooses to do so. The Scandinavia, Wisconsin native has 27 career NAHL goals in now 107 games played, 22 assists, and his first NAHL goal was versus Amarillo all the way back on November 27th, 2020. He's had 2 career hat tricks so far, both coming against Corpus Christi, and both this season. Bejier very close to it yesterday, talked and kind of joked around with him after the game yesterday, and he was very, of course, nervous anytime he was touching the puck following that second goal. And to say it came in rapid succession, his second goal only came 16 seconds after Manzo made it a 5-1 game. And, of course, I would have to do a lot of digging to get that stat correct, but that might possibly be the fastest back-to-back goals in Jackalopes history. It very well could definitely be the fastest back-to-back goals this season, separated by 16 seconds. That would certainly take a little bit of time to dig through and comb through all the 10-plus years of NAHL hockey, as the Jacks will be back again, continuing the success that they've had so far this season. A team that unfortunately will miss the playoffs, much like the team that they're going up against here this evening. But a few of the players obviously want to hit the 30-win mark. They're 2 away from doing so. They can finish with 31 if they win out these final 3 games. Next weekend, again, they will be going up against New Mexico, who, regardless of the outcome for them this weekend against Lone Star, will be in second place. Again, Wichita Falls just a few points behind them. Lone Star at 80, 77 for New Mexico, 74 for the Warriors, and 71 for Shreveport. So very tight for the top 4, and still some shuffling, I'm sure, to come in the final 3 games of the regular season. As the ceremonial puck drop takes place between Jaden Jensen and Frank Devoni, the 2 captains for the respective team, as we get ready for the national anthem here from the Budweiser bullpen. I'm going to step aside and get ready for period number 1 on the final regular season meeting between Odessa and Amarillo. Well, national anthem has been sung here from the Budweiser bullpen in Amarillo, Texas, as we get ready for game number 58 of the regular season between Odessa and Amarillo. Both teams sitting at 58 games now. Once this puck is dropped by referee Ryan Siegel, linesmen are the same as well as yesterday: Ben Golick and Dane Hopkins. Odessa went 0 for 4 on the power play yesterday. Amarillo went 0 for 3. From your vantage point, Jacks are going left to right. Wranglers going right to left. As they flip it right towards Proctor, he's able to push that one to the corner off to his right-hand side. And coming away with it from the neutral zone and sending it deep was Kelly. Twisted on back and off the end wall by Max Guchar. As after it on that near side is Bezic. Wranglers come out with it onto the stick of Aiden Carney. He turns it over to Claire. Doesn't get a shot off as the play was blown down from offside call on that far side. And a little already altercation between Duclair and an opposition. Just 33 seconds in to period number 1. We saw a few scraps yesterday, mainly in that third period. One that went down as a fight was between Charlie Bankier and number 25 in white, Tommy Trinchnikov. And some other ones that occurred when everybody was kind of finding a partner was between Nate Boak and Christoph Skrastins, who was frustrated, of course. He leads the league in shots entered yesterday with 253. And shooting percentage just a little over 13%. As a stick stuck in the tunnel and Zamboni door over on that near side right corner. Jack's unable to get a clean shot off. Odd man rush coming for the Wranglers and flipped across to the near side from Prohorenkovs as the Wranglers unable to settle things down. And that was actually, I think that was Danilo Korshalensky. Again, specialty jerseys for Amarillo as Perdian tries to drop the shoulder behind Guchar. He has an option in the near side on Mansfield. They now get twisted up along the boards. As we are a minute and 30 into this final period, or into this final game between these two teams in period number 1. As 6 players come together on the near side corner. Kusler trying to fight for it. He had a goal in yesterday's game. After it was initially shot by Trevor Tallien, and some thought it was him, especially me. Almost celebrated as if it was. But it had tipped off of something from Kusler after an awkwardly caught Carter Clafton off of that right-hand shoulder. And it's kept alive by Odessa as they send it below the goal line. Wranglers playing off the far side boards right in front of their bench onto the stick of Chase Davis. Now he'll set up Chunchnikov. He's held up against that far side glass by Desmond Johnson. Sent off the wall and almost played out by Mansfield. Catches a stanchion and it rolls back into Jack's territory as it's flundered back out to center ice and then whacked towards Guchar, who will hold it for a halt to play with 17:30 left to go here in period number 1. Still a scoreless hockey game from the Budweiser bullpen. Only 1 goal was scored in the first period yesterday. That was off the leading scorer for the Jacks, Christopher Duclair, who now has over 40 points in his rookie season and 22 goals. He is in the top 5 for a rookie in goals. And I do believe he had just crossed over as well with that second point. He was sitting at 39, and I think he's now in the top 5 for both, if my memory serves me correct. That one will catch the linesman on the near side. Player still looking for the loose puck along the near side boards. Jacks enter the offensive zone. Getting sat down was Rylan Yates on the near side circle, playing through the logo onto the stick of Quintel, who is in his first action this weekend. Sent over to the near side. Drop on back and a shot hit a stick. Good back after it, near side corner. Play it across. Sent back up top to Dvorny, the captain with it, top of the left point. That one ramps off the end boards. They blast one right back off the same spot. It's collected by Amarillo and sent out of their zone. As Dvorny touches it across to the near side for Connor Kuent as it's spun around the yellow trim. 16:24 left to go here in period number 1. And a few shoves to the back coming from Kyle DeMarco. Onto a jackalope, nothing is called, as that one actually will also go up and into the Wranglers bench for a halt to play. Jensen Prohorinkovs continuing their Ironman streak as they fire one off the stick of Scraston's. Easily steered aside. Played over to the far side corner where it's eventually sent forward as icing will be waved off. The other Wrangler player continuing the Ironman streak is Logan Cleary. For the Jacks, they still have Frank Dvorny and Ryan Kusler. So far playing in 58 games, again 9 games for Dvorny, played with the Austin Bruins earlier this season. They bring it from the goal line. Send it up top to Wojciechowski. Fires one, looked for a tip from Kelly. The near side circle, and it's whipped right past Guchar and all the way back up to the blue line. Far side circle for Manzo. Now he'll leave it for Duclair. Pass back up top for Wojciechowski. Fires one, rebounds loose in the hash marks, and dug out by Korshalenski. Big cover up by the Jacks to keep it alive. However, the shot hit a body in front, and now Scrastins picks it up from the red line. He enters, tries to toe drag around, and is stifled by Wojciechowski as he banks it off the bench boards and out of his own zone. Sent from far to near and then tipped past the red line from Korshalenski with over 5 minutes gone here in the first period. Johnson having trouble playing it on this near side corner, off to the right of Proctor. And that's lobbed off the glass for Liam O'Hare. O'Hare with some options behind him as he's ridden right into the boards behind Guchar. Rimmed around the yellow trim by Chase Davis. And it comes loose on the near side circle. And body-to-body collision between Davis and almost caught a Wrangler player off guard, as that one almost went past Purdy and caught a stanchion awkwardly, played over to the far side and kept in by O'Hare. He'll head right to the bench for a line change. Amarillo puck possession as they brush it over into open ice on that far side. Boat sends it on back to Johnson. Quickly plays it forward, doesn't catch a jackalope stick, so icing is called with 13:53 left to go here in period number 1. 2 shots for the Wranglers, 1 for the Jacks. It'll be an offensive zone draw for the Wranglers, near side circle. Off to the blocker side of Alex Proctor, who's in his final season of junior eligibility. Wranglers win it, back to the top of the left point. They fire one, shrugged aside by Proctor. Called that one off the mask, I believe, from the sound I heard up here from the broadcast booth. And it's coming out and playing with it. Trying to go zone to zone was Nate Boak. He's stripped of the puck by Sofo. Sofo turns it on back and sends it right to the tape of Prohorinkovs, who has to backpedal in his own end. Back over to Sofo. Tipped off of Kusler's blade and back over to Proctor, who will halt play. As he quickly takes off his mask as well, sending in the butterfly in his crease. It appears he's okay. 13:21 left to go in the first. Noah Ruprecht has to look on from well away from Proctor, practically off to the left of Max Guchar from the Jackalopes tunnel. Cleary wins it, tries to send it to the slot, and a good defensive play by Frank Dvorny, negating a cross-crease shot that could have been dangerous as it stays a 0-0 hockey game. Played back out to center ice. Knifing it forward is Kufis. And they play it through the crease and back out to the far side. They try for another tip, and that one's caught in the chest by Proctor. Just over 7 minutes into this opening period. Wranglers outshot Odessa through 60 minutes yesterday, 41-39. A very high shooting affair on both sides of the ice. Jacks were out shooting the Wranglers to start period number 3, 26-23. It was an 18-shot third period for Amarillo, but they were going up against a brick wall in Noah Ruprecht. He has to back up Alex Proctor here this evening for game number 58 of 60 in the regular season. Over to the near side. Sent off the paddle of Guchar and picked up by Amarillo. And as they skate forward with it, Quittel brings it on into that far side corner. Players come together. Squirts loose for Price, and that one's rifled over to the near side boards. Wranglers force it into the traffic, and it's cleared out by Odessa. Right back over to Quittel. Played it to Dvorny. Jacks enter. They fire one. Caught by Guchar. The rebound was there, but he comes above his crease to make the save. And that initial shot came off the stick of Ryan Kelly. Again, some of these players might not see each other ever again. Some might see each other next season. Those that are eligible to return. Wranglers playing with 10 age-out players. For the Jacks, only 5. Again, some players committed to D1 hockey programs that have the option to return next season. Wojciechowski from the red line. Sends it diagonal to the near side corner. Banked off the end boards. Jacks trying to pick it up behind Guchar's cage. Have it on the left corner. Dancing with it now is Liam O'Hare. He's being pressured from behind. Perdian comes in to help out. Amarillo Wranglers gain a hold of it. For a dumping chase goes Trunchenikov. He tried to twist it on back for Davis. As that one was broken up, Davis goes and turns, taking a swing at Hoyard. As Hoyard is after it below the goal line. Sent all the way over to the near side for Trunchenikov. Jacks pestering on that near side wall. Mansfield lost possession of it, but he's right back after it. Right at the red line. Dug out by Kusler. Played it over to Nate Boak. For Harinkov, sends it near side. Now off the stick of Skrassins. Toe drag move for Korshalenski. He'll pirouette the other way. Trying to find some open real estate. Runs right into Skrassins. Skrassins from the left circle. Back up top. Fires one into a blocked shot. Teammate picks it up from the right corner. Back up top to Skrassins. Skrassins fires another one. Blocked by the stick of Nate Boak. As they flip it out to center ice. Skrassins, 34 goals in his first and last season in the NAHL. And as you can see, he likes to shoot from wherever in the offensive zone as Kuit brings it out from the red line. Enters the offensive zone, fires one, saved by Guchar. As it looks like we'll head to immediate timeout with 10:13 left to go in period number 1. As it's still a scoreless hockey game here from the Budweiser bullpen. Jacks potentially playing in their final game in these road jerseys, black being the primary color, with Odessa letterman going from the right shoulder down to the left hip. A white nameplate and red number on the back, prominently displayed. As they held the home jersey auction last weekend. after their weekend series against the Shreveport Mudbugs. I have heard that New Mexico could potentially be doing maybe a darker set of jerseys for their final regular season series next weekend. And that is why the Jacks have to hang on to those white jerseys just a little bit longer. But those that did win those bids will be able to get them still autographed once the season finally comes to a conclusion on April 16th. As Hughes going toe-to-toe with a Wrangler player. As Devorney locks eyes with TJ Kufis. They exchange words right below the Wranglers' blue line. And Hughes and Jace Sofo chirping at one another as they make their way back to the benches. Offensive zone draw for Odessa. Far side circle. Manzo to take it. Kelly. Off the ensuing draw, fired one that was saved by Guchar. Play continues on right behind his cage. Kelly comes away with it near side. Brushes it back up top to the point. Intentionally shot wide from Connor Kiewit. Manzo comes away with it. Tries to send it down low. Picked off by Bezic and played forward. As the Wranglers try to get numbers in their favor going the other way, they're making changes defensively behind the play. Over to the right corner, it will now be pinned with 9:30 left to go here in period number 1. Jacks lead in shots 5-4. Still a scoreless hockey game in the final meeting between these two teams here this season. It's still held up against the yellow trim. Referee Ryan Siegel neglecting to blow the play dead as it finally comes loose for Odessa. Onto the stick of the assistant captain, Connor Kiewit. And off a stick, so icing will be waved off against the Jacks. Sofo sends it along the trim on the near side. It's fluttered into that right corner. Picked up by Wojciechowski as teams are making changes on the fly. Now under 9 minutes left to go in the first. Jacks have 186 goals scored this season. Hoyer tries to go short side, blocked by defensive play from number 25, Tommy Chunchnikov. And now a 2-on-1 for the Wranglers, starting up near side with it. They look for a tip off of Chase Davis and played too far ahead of him. And now Hoyer tries to go the other way with it. As he tries to cut through the center ice logo, Davis back with it, sends it near side. Hopping around the opposition was Chunchnikov. As Hoyer tried to feed it to Mansfield. He's dispossessed of the puck. Kusler in after it. Kusler goes shoulder to shoulder with DeMarco in the left corner. Mansfield tried to drape it on back to him. Kusler now spins away. Kusler shovels it back to the crease, caught by Guchar. And nothing comes of that with 7:47 left to go here in the first period from the Budweiser bullpen. These two teams have split every weekend series so far. The Jacks haven't swept a team since December 10th and 11th against the New Mexico Ice Wolves. Again, their opponent next weekend to close out the 2021-22 campaign. New Mexico will have playoff hockey in their arena. How many games is unknown. It's the first time they have clinched a playoff berth in their franchise's history. Their inaugural season was back in 2019-2020. The year COVID hit and kind of stopped everything. That one takes an awkward bounce on the outside of Guchar's net. Recovered by the Jacks. As they had it near side, Yates was on the far side. They couldn't get a pass off. Korchaletsky with it and gets stopped in his tracks by Johnson. Korchaletsky, top of the left point. Trying to send it across to Jensen. Kick save by Proctor, I should say. And he got a rebound as well. Pushed back over to the boards. As the Wranglers are trying to get some momentum in their favor in front of their hometown crowd. Turnover from the Wranglers onto the stick of Mansfield. Played near side and then lobbed deep by Connor Cohen with 6:40 left to go in the first. So used to saying Ruprecht's name yesterday, as he had made 40 saves. Wranglers only average about 28.6 shots per game, which is 28th out of 29th in the NAHL. They're one of the lowest scoring teams as well, and the shots also mimic that. But they put up 41 on Odessa yesterday, 39 for the Jacks on Carter Clafton. As a good stick lift by Emerson Good on the opposition leads to Yanks with it on the far side wall. Coming in, the finish his hit on Sofa was Justin Hughes, and now with it behind his own cage. And however, heading right to the bench was Aiden Carney. Proctor will leave it for Wojciechowski. It's sniped all the way back to the red line, where DeMarco was waiting. A lot of back and forth hockey going on so far in period number 1. 5:35 left in it. 6 shots apiece in a scoreless hockey game. Duclair trying to pass it out from in front of his own bench as he's twisted up with DeMarco at the Wranglers' blue line. DeMarco heads back to the bench. It's sent towards Proctor, and it'll come out to make the save. 5:18 left to go here in the opening period from the Budweiser bullpen. You're listening to Odessa Jackalopes Hockey on Hockey TV or over on the audio-only feed on their YouTube Live channel. I know the Wi-Fi has been a little iffy, so hopefully that is still holding strong. I will be with the team next weekend in Albuquerque, New Mexico. As they close out the regular season, Perdian near side with it, rubbed off the puck. Dribbled back out to the center ice line and snapped deep by Nate Polk. Jacks are 4-3 so far against the Wranglers this season. Mexico will be the final team that they play for this 2021-22 season. They have a record of 4-2 against them. Their best record against an opponent this season was 5-3 versus the Rhinos, who are in last place in the South Division. All 8 games between the Jacks and the Rhinos took place in 2021. Many teams still have to face the Rhinos. Shreveport going up against, or Wichita Falls, I'd say, going up against them this weekend. Shreveport versus them next weekend. Mansfield trying to stick lift Russell below the goal line. Gets it back to the right circle. They fire one. Blocked aside by Kuchar. Off to the right corner. With 4:04 left to go here in the first period. Jacks have it again. Bounces back up to the blue line. Walking the line with it is Kuhn as he receives a hit in open ice territory from Chase Davis. And you can tell both teams from top to bottom making sure they finish their checks. Davis with it and plays it over into no man's land on that far side. Again, potentially could be the last time many of these players step on the ice against one another. And you always want to at least maybe go 500 in a season series or definitely win it. And the Jacks, again, still having a lot to play for. Many of the players after the game yesterday, I was talking with them on the bench or around their locker room. They definitely want to hit that 30 mark. It is one of the goals, and even head coach Scott Dewar said that they want to win out these final 4 games. They may not be able to make playoffs anymore, just like the Amarillo Wranglers are unable to do so, sitting in 6th place in the South Division. But winning out would put them at 31, which would be too shy of a franchise record. 33 is what it sits at back from 2017-2018 season. And again, this team had many overtime games, 5 total. 1 went or finished in overtime. 4 that they lost in a shootout. Those are just the losses. They had others, of course, that went the distance, but they were able to pick up the full 2 points out of. And those 4 shootout losses all came at the hands of the Lone Star Brahmas, who are currently the top-placed team in the South Division. That's good. Tries to avoid a hit from Logan clearing right at center ice. It's all the way back down in front of Proctor's net. Sent off the boards on that far side. Picked up by Kufis. Kufis drapes behind Proctor's net. Over to the near side wall. All the way up top for Jensen. He fires a high shot that elevates well above Proctor's net and his head. Remains in the Jack zone. Swinging at that one was good. And a shot attempt from Logan Cleary on the far side. Ends up hitting the safety netting for a whistle. 2:46 left to go here in period number 6 for Amarillo. Well, the Wranglers have now allowed 174 goals this season. They've scored 142. Jacks have scored 186 and have allowed 180. Most goals for them in a season was 192 just a few years ago. If they average 2 goals a night, they'll tie it, as they sit 6th shy of that record. Duclair fires it deep from the neutral zone, all the way to the top of the right point. That one will blast off the end boards, kept in on that far side by Charlie Bankier, who hops around a hit, as that one sent off the paddle of Guchar, and the puck is deflected to the far side boards. Duclair looking for some options, turns and fires one. Just past the left glove of Guchar, and that one trickles back into his own zone. As Proctor will settle things down for the RIT commit with 1:45 left in the opening period. Boak softly plays it forward to Manzo. Manzo tries to get around one, unable to do so. He'll send on the Tufts University commit, Liam O'Hare, who just committed to play D3 hockey just about a week ago, as it's played forward. Jack center on the stick of Hoyer. All the way across it will go. However, Odessa unable to grab a hold of it. Sent to the left circle and overskating. That one was Scrastins. He doesn't do that too often. Jack's trying to attack the enemy territory. They backhand one towards Guchar, and he eats it up in the left glove with 65 seconds left to go here in the first period. Odessa up to 8 shots. Wranglers still held at 6 in this scoreless hockey game from the Budweiser bullpen. I do also want to correct myself. Yesterday, in talks with Tanya Begier on my stat sheet that I had prepared, I had him locked at 14 goals entering yesterday's game as Kuwait snaps one towards the net. Mansfield looks for a wraparound. It's pushed in the blue paint. Bodies colliding in Guchar's crease. And the puck eventually comes loose. Sent to the far side for Devorny. It's tipped in! I think that one will go to Tanyan Begier. He was below that left circle, and he'll be the one first through the fist pump line. 49.6 seconds left for his 3rd of the weekend. And now goal number 6.